Did you know that behind one of history's most legendary conquerors stood a woman so politically cunning, so fiercely protective, and so deeply influential that her impact reaches across continents? This is not merely the story of Alexander the Great. This is the fascinating journey of the woman who forged him, Olympias. Origins of a Queen. To understand Olympias, we must delve into the rugged landscape of ancient Epirus, a mountainous kingdom nestled in what is today northwestern Greece and southern Albania. Born around 375 BCE into the Molossian royal house, Olympias was not just any noble. Her lineage purportedly traced back to the mighty Achilles, a claim she would invoke with great significance to construct her son's legacy. Her birth name is believed to be Polyxena or Myrtale. However, she adopted the name Olympias in honor of her husband Philip II of Macedon's resounding victory at the Olympic Games. This name change signaled a transformation in her destiny, reflecting her growing political stature and ambitions. Olympias was well-educated, having absorbed knowledge of Greek classics, religious rituals, and intricate courtly affairs, all carefully knit into a society riddled with dynastic rivalries and tribal allegiances. Growing up in this tumultuous environment, she learned early on the art of manipulation and power play. The echoes of the past shaped her resolve, imbuing her with a sense of purpose that transcended familial love. Olympias was ready to carve out a legacy that, unbeknownst to her, would shape not just her own fortune, but the destiny of an entire empire. What kind of upbringing catalyzes a woman into the audacious strategist behind the greatest conqueror of the ancient world? The answer lies obscured in the hills of Epirus, amidst whispers of power and status. A political marriage. In 357 BCE, Olympias entered into a marriage with Philip II of Macedon, a union forged not from love, but from the steely grasp of political power. Philip was a formidable king, having unified the fractious Greek city-states under Macedonian dominance through a blend of both cunning alliances and brutal military incursions. By marrying Olympias, he not only strengthened his position in northern Greece, but also set the stage for his greater imperial ambitions. Initially, the marriage held immense promise, but it soon spiraled into turmoil. Olympias and Philip welcomed their son, Alexander, in 356 BCE, a moment that was marked not just by parental joy, but by a triad of significant events: Philip's military triumphs and his racehorse's victory at the Olympics that very same year. Seers interpreted this trio of successes as an omen, proclaiming that Alexander was destined for greatness. Yet, destiny and prophecy alone would not shape an empire. Olympias understood that she needed to take an active role in solidifying that fate. The very atmosphere of the Macedonian court was charged with tension, rife with political maneuvering and relational rivalries. Olympias was a foreigner amidst Macedonian aristocrats, and her fervent devotion to the cult of Dionysus, which included ecstatic rituals involving snakes, was intriguing and alienating to many. But what happens when a woman, disillusioned and cast aside, decides to reclaim her destiny? Olympias did not simply adapt to the court's challenges. She resolved to turn them into opportunities, paving a path for her son to rise as a true contender. Olympias versus the Macedonian court. The Macedonian court was a treacherous arena, particularly for a woman and outsider like Olympias. Surrounded by rival wives vying for favor, scheming nobles, and ambitious generals, her position was precarious. Resentment for her foreign customs fueled her isolation, yet she wielded her devotion to Dionysus, a religion steeped in mystery, as a powerful political tool. As her marriage with Philip deteriorated, it was starkly illustrated when he took another wife, Cleopatra Eurydice, a young Macedonian noblewoman. This union posed a grave threat to Alexander's legitimacy as heir apparent. Olympias felt the ground beneath her tremble as rivalries clawed for dominance, and she realized that securing her son's place in history required tactical maneuvers. Accustomed to navigating the tumultuous waters of court politics, Olympias took drastic measures. Rather than cower in the shadows, she retreated to Epirus, not as a victim, but as a figure biding her time, plotting her moves with unwavering resolve. The idea of exile transformed in her mind. It was now a platform from which she would strategize her return. Olympias cultivated her power as a mother and strategist among the whispers of dissent and desperation. Were her intentions solely maternal, or did she harbor grander ambitions for her son's ascendance to the throne of Macedon, shaping the mind of a conqueror? In the serene yet secretive confines of Epirus, Olympias instilled in Alexander a fierce belief in his divine ancestry. She painted a vivid picture that they belonged to the lineage of heroes. He was not just Philip's son, but rather a descendant of gods, the offspring of Zeus himself. She spun tales that would become armor for Alexander, fueling an ambition that swelled within him. Supervising his education, Olympias ensured that Alexander was surrounded by the finest thinkers of the age. Most notably, she and Philip enlisted Aristotle to mentor him, an undertaking that would shape Alexander's mind profoundly. Under Aristotle's tutelage, the future conqueror learned philosophy, science, politics, and ethics. Yet, it was Olympias who whispered in the wings, driving him toward dreams of grandeur. The assassination of Philip II in 336 BCE, possibly orchestrated by Olympias herself, marked a pivotal moment in history. When the king fell to the dagger of his bodyguard, Pausanias, Olympias acted with a swift ruthlessness that would define her legacy. To secure Alexander's claim to the throne, she ordered the execution of Cleopatra Eurydice and her infant daughter, panic-stricken by potential rivals. Historians continue to debate her involvement in Philip's murder, but one fact remains clear: Olympias was ready to spill blood to elevate her son. With her husband's blood still staining the throne, Alexander ascended to kingship, but it was Olympias whose hands guided his rise, drenched in intrigue and tactical bloodshed. The shadow behind the throne. Even with Alexander crowned as king, Olympias remained a formidable power from afar. Though she did not accompany him on his grand conquests, her influence persisted across the miles. Correspondence between mother and son reveals a deeply bonded relationship, not just rooted in affection but fortified by mutual respect and shared ambitions. Olympias offered counsel on crucial matters: governance, administration, and the stability of the throne. As Alexander's conquests expanded, so too did the rift between Olympias and Antipater, a trusted general and regent left in Macedon to govern in Alexander's absence. Their clashes over political control became increasingly frequent, and the power dynamics shifted as Alexander sought to maintain loyalty amid the court's envious machinations. Olympias did not shy away from manipulating the narrative, strategically reinforcing her position. Back in Macedonia, she maintained a court of her own, reminiscent of Cleopatra's prowess in Egypt, forging alliances with those loyal to the throne and ruthlessly eliminating those who opposed her. Her grip on the political machinery was ironclad, showcasing her ability to wield influence beyond the battlefield. Though her son was conquering continents, Olympias remained a controller of the narrative, curating a legacy that would transcend mere conquest and echo through eternity. How did she balance the fierce love of a mother with the cold calculus of ambition? After Alexander, the Queen's final war, the world was shattered in 323 BCE with Alexander's untimely demise in Babylon. The empire he had built rapidly fractured, plunging into chaos as various factions vied for power. His son, Alexander IV, was still an infant, leaving the royal line vulnerable amidst the ensuing wars of the Diadochi, a series of brutal conflicts among Alexander's former generals. Now a grandmother yet as formidable as ever, Olympias re-entered the turbulent political theater, proclaiming herself protector of Alexander's legacy. Assembling an army in Epirus, she devised a bold plan to reclaim Macedonia from those she deemed usurpers. In 317 BCE, she marched into Macedonia with her forces and swiftly ousted Philip III, a puppet king placed on the throne by Cassander, one of Alexander's former officers. Olympias displayed her notorious ruthlessness by orchestrating the execution of Philip III and over 100 aristocrats loyal to her enemies, fueling a bloodbath designed to intimidate her opponents. However, Olympias's campaign would be short-lived. In 316 BCE, she found herself besieged by Cassander's forces. After a lengthy standoff, she was captured, and despite her pleas for mercy, Cassander had her executed, sealing her fate. A brutal end for a woman of such formidable power who once ruled from the shadows. Olympias's death did not signify a closure. It ignited a legacy of fear that rippled through the hearts of kings and queens. How does a life lived boldly transform into a haunting legacy? Conclusion: a legacy etched in blood and glory. Often overlooked, Olympias has been relegated to mere footnotes in Alexander's sprawling saga, frequently depicted as a vengeful, scheming figure in classical sources, narratives crafted by male historians who feared powerful women. Yet, her real story is layered, rich in complexity and strength. She was not just a religious mystic, nor merely a passionate mother. Olympias was a master politician who maneuvered the tumultuous terrain of a male-dominated world with unparalleled skill. She dared to uplift her child toward divinity, turning myth into reality through courage and cunning. Her fingerprints can be found all over Alexander's legacy, not only in the lands he conquered, but also in the myth-making, the exaltation of his divine persona, and the steadfast belief that he was destined for more than the throne of Macedonia. That belief was not forged on the battlefield. It was meticulously sculpted within the palace chambers of Pella, whispered fervently by a mother who envisioned greatness. So, the next time we celebrate the monumental triumphs of Alexander the Great, let us remember the bold queen who forged him, Olympias. Mother, priestess, queen, she was not merely behind the throne. She helped build it, brick by brick, with ambition and zeal. If you found this exploration of a powerful and often overlooked figure in history compelling, please consider liking the video and leaving a comment. Your feedback helps improve future content. And don't forget to support the channel, CyberTheo, by subscribing. It truly makes a difference. Stay tuned for deeper stories about those who shaped history from the shadows. Who should we cover next? Share your thoughts in the comments below.